My name is George, and I work in product marketing and sales. I've spent the past 15 years in Taiwan, including 7 years working in various tech companies. So welcome to Persona. This is the podcast for product marketers. Today, I'm very excited to talk with Diana Andrea Fioriera. So Diana is a bold, forward-thinking product marketing leader known for shaping how product marketing is done. So with 9+ years of experience at global tech giants like IBM, she brings deep expertise in audience-led to go-market strategies, product positioning, and narrative design. She combines strategic thinking with sharp execution, and is especially skilled at reaching hard to reach audiences in surprises and effective way. Diana, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, George.
Yeah, no problem. I look forward to our conversation. Should we get started?
Yes, please.
Okay. So let's start with your journey. So basically, can you tell us how you first got into product marketing?
Honestly, I landed in product marketing before I even had a name for it. I started by bringing bridging the gap between technical teams and customers, translating the features into benefits, building decks, talking to sales, listening to users. If you're wondering what shaped my view, I would say it would be two different things. First, realizing that product marketing is not a support function, but it's a strategic growth engine. And secondly, seeing how narrative drives adoption. I can give you an example from at one point, I was handed a product that wasn't gaining traction post-launch. So instead of rewriting the deck, what I've done is I ran interviews with sales and heard the same thing. Prospects didn't get it. I rewrote the core messaging around buyer pain points and real-world outcomes, and 2 quarters later, the product has its strongest quarter to date.
That's good. That's a good example. It's the same as well for me. I started as a sales actually. Then I moved to product marketing later. And then I think the example you show, it's really a good one that probably help a lot of people in the field of product marketing. The second question I would have is, marketing is all about testing and learning. How do you usually approach running experiment to new ideas? When you have any new ideas, how do you run in experiments?
I treat experiments like the product launches, with a clear hypothesis, measurable impact, tight timeline. The one breakthrough came when I tested the value prop-driven messaging versus a feature-led messaging on a high intent page. And I saw a 30% uplift in demo requests just by reframing benefits around emotional outcomes. So as a hypothetical example, let's say you are launching a compliance software. Instead of saying it automates legal review, you test messaging like fewer legal fire drills. You A/B test that in your ads on top of hero banners and in email subject lines. It performs better because it actually speaks human. You track the CTR, demo conversions, downstream opportunity creation, then look at what works.
That's good. So that's a good example because sometimes people pay attention for the banners as well. That will make them to click, not to click away on your page as well. So customer today, they don't just buy a product. They want to connect with a brand as well. So how do you find a nurture customer community? So have you seen any example where this effort, they turn customer into like the brand advocates, like people who like the brand?
I think that you don't build communities by, for example, sending a newsletter, but you create rituals, and these rituals give people something to belong to. I've done this by launching customer roundtables, spotlighting users as co-creators in webinars, and seeding private Slack groups for the power users. I think the key is always consistency and, on top of all, listening. I like having win-loss interviews, for example, with customers, and customers love me because I don't just ask them questions like, why did you go with our competitor instead of my company?
That's the typical question.
Yeah, I never ask them that. I ask them, why have you made the decision of selecting this company? Just to understand what they've done better and what I can do better for our company in order to make sure that they remained our customers. So at one of my previous companies, I launched a Champions Circle, for example, a closed invite-only Slack group of our most active customers. We gave them some early access to features, beta testing privileges, and asked them to help shape the entire roadmap. So over time, they became our most vocal advocates. And when I needed case studies, references, event speakers, they were the ones who have raised their hands first because they were part of this community.
That's good example to turn customers into brand advocates. But sometimes a product need a fresh start to stay relevant. So have you ever worked in repositioning or rebranding a product? So you can tell us like the step did you take or any lesson did you learn from the experience? So for example, repositioning or rebranding any product.
Yes, I have repositioned the product that was losing relevance. And I think it's one of the most high stakes things that a PMM can do. I worked on a platform that was being seen as a legacy tool in a very fast moving market. And we weren't losing on capability, don't get me wrong. We were losing on perception. So what I've done was I ran win-loss interviews and kept hearing the phrase clunky but safe. So what I've done was I've pivoted the narrative to lean into the safe part, reframing the product as the trusted, scalable backbone for digital transformation, not the flashy front end. So then I've built new content focused on reliability, security, and enterprise readiness. The sales cycle shortened after this campaign and the win rates improved, especially in high regulations verticals.
That's good. Basically, rephrasing, added new content. I think that's something that will help also in repositioning and rebranding. Because in my case, a lot of time I have to edit or maybe probably added new content, or I can edit the content as well. So that will help a lot of customers from the rebranding or repositioning any product. But marketing often they come with thinking you have to think outside of the box as a product marketer. What's the most unconventional or unexpected marketing tactics that you've tried? So how did that impact a customer that saw your product on the page?
I once built a problem first content campaign disguised as a customer confession series. It featured real stories of mistakes that the buyers made before switching to our product. Absolutely no logos, no features, just the pure human truth. It sparked massive engagement and it led to a 2-time lift in the qualified inbound interest. In a more conservative industry like healthcare, for example, what I'd do is something unexpected like launching a podcast where real clinicians anonymously share what almost went wrong due to bad data, then softly introduce how our product could have helped. It's honest, it's attention grabbing, and especially it's emotionally sticky. I can give you a third example, something that was completely out of the box and bold for me to do, but let me share some context first.
Yes.
There was a product that basically what it was doing was an app on the phone that the buyers had, and that app was telling them when the trees around their power towers were growing too much. And if a tree grows too much around the power tower, electricity is completely interrupted. So what I've done was at an event, it was quite a small event, around 800 attendees. What I've done is spoke to the organizers and told them, for 10 seconds, I want you to turn all the power off and then let me say a message. And they've done that. They loved the crazy idea. And the message was, this is what happens when you do not buy this vegetation management product. Find us at booth number 28. And then boom, the power went back on. And the impact was, out of the 800 or so attendees at the event, we've had 580 scans in the next few minutes at the booth. We had to borrow a microphone from one of our competitors' booth for the speakers to actually be heard all the way out back. So this is one of the unconventional tactics that I've done. It was shocking, but very, very effective. And as you can imagine, the results when it comes to revenue was
huge. Yeah. So that's true, because sometimes it's not something that already been written. You really need to, I think as a product marketer, there will be unexpected event that will be happening. You really need to make a decision, so that will be good. So now marketing world is always changing. So what's one emerging trend that you think will have a huge impact on product marketing in the next few years? So what should marketers be doing to stay ahead of this curve?
To answer your question, I think customer absorption capacity, because as AI speeds up development, the real constraint is how quickly customers can understand and adapt change. Product marketers will have to master orchestration, like sequencing, simplifying, and storytelling in ways that do not overwhelm buyers. If you're launching, for example, 5 new features a quarter, you cannot drop them all at once. You might launch feature A with a targeted email and in-app tour, wait 2 weeks, then layer feature B with a short video walkthrough and customer story. So it's not about speed to ship. It's about speed to understand and adopt. I remember around 10 years ago when I first started my SaaS journey, white papers were a big trend. But now all I'm writing are one-pagers, concise, short, on point, with real customer examples.
That's true. Because before, people will probably have a white papers, but right now, like you mentioned, one pages is really popular. And also some company, they will focus also on infographic, just one page infographic, so that the users or the buyers, they will probably get the idea in a second, instead of overwhelming them with a lot of information that is not relevant to them. That's great to hear from you. Before we wrap up, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone started out in product marketing, what would it be?
That would be to fall in love with your customer's problem, not with your product. If you understand what keeps them up at night, everything else like messaging, content, go-to-market flows from there. And never forget, you're not just marketing what the product does, you're marketing what it means. Even something as simple as a dashboard widget can become a positioning moment. So don't just say new analytics filter. Say something like, now you can answer the question your CFO will ask before they even ask it. That mindset shift is what separates a good PMM from a basic copywriter.
Well, thank you. I will take this advice, because sometimes we focus too much on the product. So as I started actually my new company right now, so I think I need to think about that. Instead of sometimes focus too much on the product, I have to stop thinking about like what could be this person thinking about, so that I can use that instead of just focus on the product. Thank you very much, Diana. So it was a great pleasure to meet you, and we hope to see you next time in the future.
Thank you so much, George. It's been a wonderful opportunity for me to be part of your podcast.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Persona, the podcast for product marketers. Please find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.